Welcome to our very first CADing video. Today, we're going to be using Tinkercad to create our very first project. First, type tinkercad.com to head over to Tinkercad. Then, create an account. Once you have your account ready, you will be at this page here. What you want to do is you want to hit Create New Design. And then from there, you'll have your design ready to start. First, a few basic things about Tinkercad. Over here, this thing is called the view cube. You can rotate around the area and switch to various different angles. If you're ever lost in a weird angle, just click the home button and it'll bring you right back to the start. Over here we have our zoom tools to zoom in and zoom out. Over here we have the switching between a 2D view and a 3D view. Now on the right half, we have our browser area where we have all of our shapes. Whether it could be a rectangle or cube, sphere, cylinder, cone, or more, you name it and it's here. So that's our tour of our tools. Now let's get started by building a very simple object. We're going to be building a simple train, the front part of the train. So let's first start off by grabbing our box. I'm going to set it down over here. And so this measurement is in inches right now, so I'm going to make it about 20 inches wide by, let's say, about maybe 75 inches long. Then from here, what we can do is we want to make the train have a slant at the front. So over here, there's a roof tool. You can pull that out, click over here. Then we need to change this angle over here to 45, and you want to drag it here. You may need to go to a different view in order to see where it really is. So let's look over here. Now there are three different, you can adjust the shapes: length, width, height. That's for the actual shape. Then in order to move it around, if you want to raise it off the ground, there's this arrow thing here. So right now it's about 2 inches off the ground. So I would say make it at least 4 inches off the ground. Maybe slightly more, depending on, I would think. You may want to adjust the height of the actual rectangle so that it becomes, instead of 14.14, which I have right now, maybe make it to about 18-ish, or 16 is about the right height. It's probably what you want. Then you want to use this new tool. It's called the grouping tool. You want to select both your objects. You want to head over here to this icon called group. And then before we even do that, what you want to do is you actually want to take the shape. First, make sure it's aligned, and you want to switch it over to our hole tool. So with the shape, right about there, I'll check the other side. So make sure it's also for 20. You want to select, if you click on the shape, you'll see over here it says the word hole. You want to click on that first. Now, as you notice, it's not actually creating a hole right now until we actually use the group tool up here. And now there we go. See, it cut it out. Now what we want to do is we want to create a window in the front for our train. So we want to head over to this tool. We want to use our box. Set it down. We want to, this is fine if it's 20. Maybe you want to make this about 5. And you also want to make the height can be adjusted to about, let's take it about 15. And we can adjust the angle also, this angle over here, about negative 45. So, yeah, so about negative 45. And our window, so actually what we want to do is, instead of having a 20 here, we want to make it slightly smaller than the front of the train. And we want to switch it to hole so we can see where it is. As we can see, the window isn't really coming out as well. we actually need to raise it off the ground a bit. See, there we go. So now it's about 2 inches off the ground. We have a window there. Now we can cut this out by using the group tool. And there we go, we have our window. Now let's start building the inside of the train. First, what we need to do is we want to create some doors. So we're going to add a cube. And let's make our door maybe about, is it 10? Yeah, it's maybe about 10. And we want to keep it about 20 across. And the height, instead of 20, we want to make it about 15-ish. Let's see how it looks. Yep, that looks good. Now what we want to do is we want to actually raise this an inch off the ground. And then we want to make sure that this slides in. Just choose a spot you would like to put your door in. So I want it right about here. You can make your door bigger or smaller depending on what you like. Then there we go. See, our door's in now. On both sides we have our door. Now this half is going to be the front. We'll come back to that later. Let's start working on the back of the train. So over here, most trains have a small door at the back. So we also want to create that door. So this should actually be now, let's call this 10. And then we want to change this to about like 5-ish. And now we don't want our door to be this tall, we want it to be about 15. And we could actually shrink this door even more if you wanted. So we can make this actually like a 7 by, let's call this 10. Because we need a very tiny door. We don't need that big of a door for that. Then what we want to do is we're going to raise this one off the ground. And just slide it into the back. Let's look at that. That's not flush as yet. We need to make sure it's flat. Like right about there. And let's actually make our door just the slightest bit bigger. Let's make it 8, because even numbers always work better. And now let's take our door by pressing that tool, and our door is now cut out. Now what we gotta do is we gotta actually work on the inside of the train. So let's start by making the inside hollow so we can actually seat people inside. So what we're going to do is we're going to start by putting our whole cube on top of it. Then we're going to adjust the dimensions. So this dimension said should be 18. This one should be about 30. Maybe let's go slightly bigger, 40. There we go, 40 is a better dimension. And then what we want to do is we want to adjust where this is sitting. Right about here. Now with the height, we also want to adjust it so that it's 18. And then we want to raise it so it's 1 inch off the ground. Right about there. Then when we group these things together, right here, now you can see we have the inside. Now what we want to do is we want to re-add our door in. We actually want to take our box object. We want to place it on the back of this. And then what we want to do is we want to adjust the dimensions of this object. Instead of being 20 there, we want to call this about 5. We'll bring the object out. And instead of being about, let's see, 20 here is too big. So actually what we want to do is, actually let's just keep 20 for now. If we just group these together, it should lock it. Now we have a back, and now we just got to put our door in. So just quickly create our door. Adjust this. Call this 10. Call this 15. And then raise it 1 off the ground. Side. How is this looking? It's about, now it's flat with the train. And about right there. Okay, that looks good. Now we just want to adjust the height of our door. instead of being 20, we want to make it 18. There we go, our door's in place. And now we have a doorway into the train. We have our smaller doors on the side. Now let's work on some windows and let's work on the front too. So on the front, we want to open it up so people can actually go in there. So what we want to do is we want to take our box tool, set it about in here to open up the cabin area. So right about here. And what we want to do is we want to adjust this. Instead of 20, we want to do 18. We want to make sure this is 1 inch off the ground. We also want to adjust the height, so that's 18. And then from there, we want to center it. And that looks, let's see, maybe move it slightly in, right about there. Then, actually, we may even want to pull out to just clear out the entire back. So leave it like at the front, the very front, right about here, there. Right now we should have a large enough passenger space. Maybe if you want to do it a bit more, about 30-ish, there we go. Now if we clear this out, we'll have a large enough passenger space and a driver area. So now we have one long train that has space for stuff to go in. In our next video, we'll be learning how to add some objects inside the train, as well as how to create the driver cabin of the train, and how to maybe create other cabins and windows for our train. For now, stay tuned and come back for our next video, and make sure to always like and subscribe to our videos and YouTube channel. Thank you.